Okay, so another possibility. Ruby has some Hershey Kisses. Her sister has half as many as she does. They have 126 Hershey Kisses all together. Ooh, so we could add Ruby's and her sister's, and all together they would have 126. But how many does Ruby have? A great way to solve for this is by using a bar model. So if we know that Ruby has, so I'm going to do R for Ruby. Ruby has some. We don't know how many, right? So I'm just going to draw a box. I don't know how many Ruby has. But we know her sister, so this is S for sister, has half as many as she does. So I'm going to try and draw my box being half as many as Ruby has. The other bit of information we do know is that altogether they have 126. Okay, so we know when we add up Ruby's amount plus sister's amount, they have 126. We also know sister has half of what Ruby has. So in this case, this model kind of works to represent, right? Now the question is, how many do they each have? Well, guess what? I bet you didn't realize this. This could be a division problem. Because if we consider this 1 part, 2 parts, and that 3 parts, is it coming together now? We could actually then solve for 126 divided by 3 parts. Remember, Ruby's sister only has half as much as Ruby. So if we split Ruby's in half, that gives us 2 parts for Ruby, 1 part for the sister. Oh my gosh. Then we can divide 126 by 3. Now, mind you, do you have to do a bar model to solve for this? No, you don't. You might see right off the bat that there are 3 parts, and therefore you divide those 3 parts. You divide 126 by 3 parts. Okay, I hope that part makes sense. Now, fast forward, and if I do my long division, I end up with 42. So therefore, I know that each part has the value of 42. Okay, so how many do they have altogether? Well, altogether, it said they had 126. How many does Ruby have? Ruby has, multi-step problem here, 42 plus 42, which gives me 84. Ruby, make sure you label, Ruby has 84 kisses. Okay. Next question. This is something similar to what's on the test. When a number is divided by 10, the quotient is 42 and the remainder is 3. So again, guys, use the tools in the classroom. I have a word list of the different operations, and if you were to use that, or if you already know, we know that quotient is the answer to a division problem. So we need to know the answer is 42, remainder 3. Okay? You could then set up the problem. We don't know what number is inside the dividend or what the dividend is, but we know that something is divided by 10. Oh, this is getting easier and easier because we also have a zero math trick. So when we see that something's being divided by 10, we know that when we multiply by a 0, it adds a 0 to the answer. When we divide by a 10, 100, 1,000, it takes away a 0. So if there's 1 0 here and it's being taken away from the answer, is anything clicking yet? Ding, 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 ding. Okay. If I were to actually add that 0 back to my answer, I would end up with 420. Oh, plus a remainder 3. So actually 423. Anything clicking? I hope so. I guess I could think of it this way, as 42 times 10 is going to give me 420, right? My zero math trick, I take my whole numbers and I multiply them together. I add the remaining 0. So if I'm dividing by 10, couldn't this be 420? But then, of course, I have that remainder. So I have to remember that there would be an extra 3 in here. 423 divided by 10 would give me 42 with 3 left over. Okay, I hope that part makes sense. That's how our zero math trick comes into play. Let's see. Okay, new problem. This is a good one for a bar model too. Dylan has 6 times as many stickers as Chloe. Altogether, they have 336. How many more does Dylan have than Chloe? Aha! This is kind of similar to our last one. We know that Dylan has 6 times as many as Chloe. So do you see how these bar models are coming in handy? So if Chloe has 1 portion, Dylan has 6 times as many portions. So he needs to have 6 total, right? Because they have that the same. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So Dylan has 6 times as many as Chloe. What we do know is that all together, if you can see, they have 336. Okay. Now here's the thing. We're being asked, how many more does Dylan have than Chloe? Well, guess what? With the bar models, if we solve for 1 portion, we can then answer any question. So how do we solve for 1 portion? This is where a lot of people will make a mistake. We need to count up how many total portions that they have all together, because all together there's 336. So there's 1 portion, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So don't make the mistake of dividing 336 by 6. It's 336 by the total amount of portions. Chloe has 1 portion. Dylan has 6 times as much. So we could do the problem as 336 divided by 7. Now fast forward and solve for your long division. You end up with the answer of 48. 7 will go into 3. Oh no, Miss Nawg-Dave, 0 placeholder. 7 goes into 33 4 times, 28, right? Then do my subtraction. Continue on with your long division. So that 48, what does that mean? Well, the 48 means that each piece here has the value of 48. So if this is 48, then this is 48, and that was 48, and that is 48, and that is 48. Fast forward. Okay, so now can we answer the question? How many more does Dylan have than Chloe? Well, guess what? Chloe has 48. We can cross off this one of Dylan's because it is the same, right? And then now we can say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts left for Dylan. To solve for Dylan, we could do 48 times 5. So in these word problems that ask, so-and-so has this much, someone else has that many, how many do they have all together? Just know that if you think about it as their piece or their bit and do a bar model, it makes it really nice and clear when trying to solve what to multiply and what to divide, right? So Dylan has 6 bits, Chloe has 1 bit. Altogether, they have 7 bits. We also know altogether they have 336, okay? That's what would help us to solve this problem. Okay, keep it going, keep it going. Oh, of course, Miss Nawg-Dave's bike shop. Okay, so my bike shop sold 3 bikes the first month of business. The second month, I sold 6 times as many. Ooh, there's that 6 times. The third month, the shop sold 10 times as many bikes. Oh my gosh. So many things to answer here. First question, A, how many bikes sold in 3 months total? So the way I like to work this one out is I like to think I like to write out my months, right? Because that's how we're doing things. So it said month 1, month 2, month 3. I like to have all my information lined up. So it says the first month we sold 3 bikes. So I'm going to do one bit here that has the value of 3. Then it says in the second month we sold 6 times as many. Well, guess what? That means I need 6 bits, right? And so each of those has a value of 3 if we're going off of that first month. Oh my God. The third month, they sold 10 times that amount. Okay? So hopefully that should tell you the answer to how many bikes are sold in 3 months total. Right? If these are the 3 months, couldn't you add up the value there? The second question is, each bike sold for $250. How much money was made over 3 months? Well, how many total bikes are there times $250 should tell us how much money was made over 3 months. Kind of challenging, huh? Okay. Last question. You will get to answer a question for extra credit. This is a slightly more challenging one. It works with the area model, which we have reviewed in class. One thing to think about is how to show for your information. So, Miss Schrader plants 76 seeds in her garden. Half of them are corn, the rest are potatoes and carrots. So I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to draw a model. I like models. They help my brain think. But we know that she plants 76 seeds. Half of them are corn. The other half, or the rest of them, are potatoes and carrots. Okay? We also know that altogether there were 76 seeds planted, right? Does that part make sense? I hope so. Okay, so then it says there are 4 more potatoes than carrots. Oh, interesting. So there are 4 more potatoes than carrots. How do we solve for how many are here and how many are here? We know that it's half, so couldn't we just divide that 76 divided by 2? And what does that give you the answer to? Well, it tells you how many are in each plot here. And in each plot, we would have 38. Okay, if I divided 76 by 2. Okay, so now we know how many are in each. But we have kind of a predicament because it says how many are corn and how many are carrots. So we know that there are 38 corn. That's answered for. How many are carrots? It said that there are 4 more potatoes than there are carrots. Okay, tricky. Think about this. If there are 38 total potatoes and carrots, and there are 4 more potatoes than there are carrots, couldn't I say 38 minus 4 and solve for that? That gives me 34. Okay, not done yet. But 34 then divided by 2 would split the potatoes and the carrots up. And then, so 34 divided by 2 gives me 17 carrots. And 17 plus those 4 should equal the potatoes. Okay, check your math, see if that's correct. This concludes your video study guide. Kind of challenging. I hope you could keep up. We'll see you in class.